predicted the Tennessee Titans would would demolish the Houston Texans 38-17. Henry would run for more than 112 yards, 3 Henry running touchdowns. Tannehill would run for 1 Tannehill running touchdown, and he'd throw 2 touchdowns. And the Titans would play a full great game, demolishing the Texans 38-17. And I was proven to be wrong because of the Titans end up defeating the Texans in what became a dramatic, great, exciting, high-scoring, competitive, close game that they won in overtime, that they tied before regulation ended 36-36, and then that they won in overtime 42-36. I was wrong about 3 Henry running touchdowns because he only ran for 2 touchdowns. He did run for more than 112 yards. I ended up getting that right. Got it wrong about Tannehill. Tannehill because he didn't run for a single touchdown. No Tannehill running touchdowns. He ended up throwing for more there was more Tannehill throwing. He threw for more touchdowns than I predicted because he doubled what I predicted. He threw for 4 touchdowns, not 2 touchdowns. Titans didn't play a full great game since the Texans were able to come back. They were able to take the lead, and the Titans had to they were getting outplayed in the second half, which is why late in this game they had to move the football and get the game tied to force overtime. So obviously I was hugely wrong about the Titans demolishing the Texans because it looked like that was possibly going to happen, even if not to the exact score, except still isn't going to happen. And then the Texans are able to start scoring points, and they play a great second half. They outscore the Titans, which is exactly why the Titans had to tie this. They tied the game late in regulation in the fourth quarter to force overtime. I was very happy that even with the Titans not getting my prediction exactly, not proving my prediction right as it is, that they still defeated the Texans in a high-scoring, became a competitive, great, dramatic, exciting, close game, 42-36 in overtime, which included I was really hugely amazed that Tannehill was throwing. He threw 4 touchdowns, played a great game, including threw the football, was able to move the Titans late in the fourth quarter, get the game tied at 36 to force overtime. I was amazed by the Titans defense because they were able to prevent the Texans from completing a 2-point conversion. And that I understood why the Texans were going to do that, because then they'd be up by 9 points, except it's far tougher to actually get a 2-point conversion than it is. So I'm really amazed. I understood why the Texans were doing that, because then the Titans would have the Texans would be up by 9, and it's harder to come back from 9 than if they were just up by 8. Except I really was still astounded, mainly because it's still hard, it's still challenging to actually score on a 2-point conversion. So I was amazed that the Texans didn't just go with more likely to succeed with kick an extra point, and the Titans have to not just score a touchdown, they also have to complete a score on a 2-point conversion in order to force overtime. So it was a terrible call by the Texans, not just for the fact that Philly, but also for the fact that that's more of an advantage, that if a team, even if they're only up by 8, then it's more challenging to not just score a touchdown, also have to score a touchdown and complete a 2-point conversion in order to force overtime. Understood why they were going for a 2-point conversion, except it's still a terrible decision, mainly for the fact that they had a better chance of going up by 9 with kicking the extra point. Instead, they made it slightly easier for the Titans, because they just had to score a touchdown and complete an extra and make the extra point in order to force overtime, which they did. And I was also very astounded by Derrick Henry, his running for most of the game, including the long run he had that put the Titans up. I was expecting him to have like a long run against the Texans, but I did not expect that to be like that long run for a touchdown that he had. So that was I didn't expect that before it happened. And except after he got out, was running more than 21 yards and gets to the open area, then I'm expecting that he's going to go gets to the open area on the right side. If I recall, it's the right side that I'm expecting he's going to run all the way for a touchdown. And I wasn't wrong. He did. So that was a very exciting play, except there was a lot of time left. So I was still really, this was still a very challenging game to watch, mainly because it left a lot of time for the Texans to still take the lead, which they did. And I was extremely happy that the Titans were able, in a game where they got outplayed in the second half because the Texans scored more points, the Titans were still able to play effective and pretty good, play great since they still scored enough points to tie the game and take the lead, to take the lead and to tie the game very late in the game to force overtime. And I was just extremely confident when the Titans got the football in overtime, even before the drive started, that they were just going to move the football, leave no drama, just score a touchdown, just take all the drama away. Don't put the defense onto the field and force them having to get a stop if they got held to a field goal. And exactly what happened. The Titans just easily moved the football, including Henry. He ended up catching a pass and then ran a long distance, and then the Titans continued to move the football. Then even on first and goal, second and goal, the Titans are denied, except then I just had no doubt in all, even before the football got snapped. Like, it's obvious what the Titans are going to do. They're just going to use that classic wildcat formation, and Henry's going to take the football. He's going to run in for a touchdown. I had no doubt that's what's going to happen. That's exactly what did happen. So it was a Hollywood-style happy ending for the Titans to win in overtime with that Derrick Henry running touchdown on the classic dime a dozen commonly used wildcat-style play. So that was very highly entertaining, and that was great. That was great to watch, and I was very happy that even though Derrick Henry, he didn't prove me exactly right he didn't prove me exactly right because he only ran for 2 touchdowns. Except I'm still extremely happy that with those 2 touchdowns, one of them was for the Titans to take the lead in the fourth quarter, which was just an amazing play, a Earl Campbell style play, a Tony Dorsett style play, since it was a long distance and it was for the Titans to take the lead. Henry showing off the speed, and then also him running into the end zone in overtime to score the game-winning touchdown in overtime on the Wildcat style classic play. That was really great. Extremely satisfied me, along with the fact that he also did run for more than 112 yards. So I wasn't exactly right about him because he didn't run for 3 touchdowns, except I'm still extremely happy that he still proved me right as far as running for more than 112 yards, had a great game against the Texans, and still ran for 2 very important touchdowns. Still had 2 great, important he still had 2 very important running touchdowns versus the Texans. So that's why I was still extremely happy that even though he didn't prove me exactly right, he still gave me great highlights to watch and still proved me right as far as running for more than 112 yards. And even though he only got 2 touchdowns, so like 3 touchdowns, both of those 2 were there was one highly entertaining touchdown. The other one was still very entertaining, which was the Wildcat running touchdown. So I'm not really sad that he wasn't. disappointed or unhappy that he wasn't able to prove me exactly right, along with the fact that the Titans won a high-scoring game 42-36 in overtime to defeat the Texans. And was one of the most entertaining games I got to watch from start to finish involving the Texans-Titans for the 2020 season and for all the Texans-Titans games I've ever watched, including in the Deshaun Watson era. And it's my reaction to the Titans defeating the Texans in overtime 42-36.